Alright, sorry about the extended wait. I am trying to get my OBS Streamlabs set up, and I am steadily working on getting the volume and everything. I'm gonna have to reconfigure the webcam because I did something wonky with it, and now I'm working on that now. So with that, I can go ahead and get started in the game for you guys. So I wanted to get started on Space Engineers. I've been playing it a lot lately, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to start a new game and kind of work through how you can go through the game and get community content through the Steam Workshop, because I have it through Steam, so I have the Steam Workshop. I didn't buy it straight from Keen Software. So if we click New Game, it's going to give us a list of scenarios, and then it's going to split it. We're going to have 3 split tabs here. We're going to have at the top, we're going to have Scenarios, Workshop, and Custom Game. So it starts you off on the scenario, and these are scenarios that have been designed by Keen Software as things you can do, and then there is at least one on here right now that is from a user that created the scenario. Then there's workshop scenarios that you can download off the Steam Workshop. You can click that, and it'll bring you a list of those items. I don't have any in here, but you can open the workshop directly from in Steam and go and hunt down these things. I think it requires a game restart for it to show up, but we're just going to simply click on Custom Game, and it's going to give us, here in a second once everything loads, it's going to give us a couple of different things. First off, it's going to give us a list on the left of starts. And these are just simply world states. There's Alien Planet, Crashed Red Ship, Dead Drop Arena, Earth Planet, Empty World, Green Station, Lone Survivor, Mars Planet, Moon Base, Red Station, Rival Platforms, and Star System. All of the different bases that you get on the Mars planet, the Moon base, and the Earth and Alien planets, they're pre-done areas that are already built for you. The PC limit doesn't count towards you. There's ships already in there that you can claim as your own, modify as you see fit. The Crashed Red Ship is just what it sounds. You're in a red and white ship that's large grid that has crashed into the side of an asteroid that has a couple of different resources on it, and you can hand mine some of those and then start retrofitting your ship to do other things, but the ship is more or less workable. Empty World is almost entirely for creative gameplay. It's for you to spawn stuff in, mess around, do whatever. I believe it doesn't have any planets or asteroids or anything already in the world. You have to do all of that on your own. Green Station is just a space station attached to an asteroid. Lone Survivors, you're on a platform with a refiner, an assembler, a gravity generator, a med bay, an O2H2 generator for oxygen and hydrogen, and a reactor that has a little like 0.4 uranium into it that's slowly decaying, and it gives you about a half hour or so, 45 minutes of time to start gathering resources and start fixing some of the things up, such as getting a more reliable power source or finding uranium, which I believe in that world there is a pocket of uranium on the asteroid that the base is attached to. Red Ship is pretty much the Lone Survivor start with more built up onto it and a few extra ships and a large grid Red Ship that is the one that's crashed on the asteroid in the other bit. Rival Platform, I believe that starts everybody out the same way. This is more for multiplayer servers. For people who just want a quick start, there's one large ship, several small ships, and I believe there's a red and blue variant. There's a blue base some distance away from the red base, and it's kind of a team v team thing. Or you can just play it in a single player world and kind of claim everything for your own. I personally always do the Star System start. It starts with nothing pre-built but the respawn ship that you will start in. Now there are a couple of different starts which we'll get into once I set this up. I'm going to go ahead and just leave the autosave on. We'll go ahead and name this Twitch stream, so I know it's a Twitch, the world I play on Twitch stream. We're gonna leave most of the settings exactly the same. I'm not gonna add any mods or anything right now, and I will eventually get around to maybe doing that. But we're just gonna start the game, make sure we click off and on back onto survival, make sure we are on survival mode, which gives us an inventory to work with. We die, we respawn, we have to worry about surviving versus actually having creative mode on and just building whatever. So we're going to go ahead and click start. It's going to bring us into a load screen. Now some of these load screens are not quick. They are rather time consuming to wait on sometimes, especially when you're logging into an official server world, which if you noticed at the start, looking at it, I play on a survival official server, NA11. And it's a fun game. It really is. If you're not used to having a whole lot of activity thrown at you, this is going to be kind of a rocky game for you. There's a lot of information being thrown at you, and the tutorial in the game, which is one of the scenarios you can play, does go over a lot of information on how the game works. It's just your basic controls are kind of something you're going to have to mess with and figure out. At least to start with. So while the game is loading here, one thing I want to touch up is that Keen has thrown a lot of wording into the loading screens here. You'll get quotes from famous philosophers and engineers. Then you'll get stuff like this, which is the 2077 Wikipedia entry for space engineer. It's really a nice tidbit of lore information that they kind of just give to you, and then you get to see examples of things that have been built in game, because all of the things you're seeing are actual in-game screenshots that people have taken, whether they've been Keen employees or screenshots that have just been uploaded to Keen's network. So, I mean, on here you can see, they've got some wind turbines sitting on top of things, and it's powering their base. It looks like their base is partially under the ground. They got a rover, they got some turrets. There's for some defenses, because you can get attacked by drones in the game. It's on Earth, it's not as predominant, but there are mods that will actually change that will give you more of a survival edge, kind of like Minecraft's nighttime cycle, in which more of the hostile mobs spawn and they attack you, and then most of them disappear in the daytime, or their AI changes during the daytime. And here, I think it's more just some of the mods will add in different ships that'll fly past your location, and if you get too close, they'll spawn drones to come and attack you. Some of them spawn bases, installations on the planets that you're on, and if you get within a certain range, they will come and get you. Splitsy, a YouTuber that I watch who plays this game quite heavily, developed the assertive cargo mod, I believe is what he called it, and assertive installations, which I don't know how the mod itself works. I don't use it, so it's not really one of my bigger things. But it will spawn an installation after you go so far on the surface of a planet, on the planet that you're on. And then I know there's a setup. I don't know if it's a modification in the mod itself, or if he has another mod that just interacts with his assertive mod. That the range on the antennas will extend and decrease periodically. So occasionally you'll get detected regardless of how far you are away from the installation, and it will eventually come after you. But like I said, the loading screens are a bit longer on this, and so once we get in, we'll go over the respawn options. There's a few different ones. Some are a little more difficult than others. Some are less difficult. Some are just changes the way you have to do certain things. I tend to start in the space pod. I really like starting in the space pod. It gives me access to almost every resource in the game. I just got to find it in asteroids by bumping around the solar system. Now, with the space pod and all respawn pods, normally if you're playing on a server, when you log off the server, your respawn pod or your space pod or whatever you respawned in will actually vanish at that point. In a single player game, which is what we're playing, that's not usually the case. Your respawn pod will stay until you either spawn in a new one because something went haywire and your means of respawning vanished, i.e. your survival kit or your med bay turned off, got destroyed, somebody was moving it, and ill timing kind of killed you before you had a chance to reactivate it. Then your respawn pod or your space pod will actually despawn and you'll spawn in the new one. So it would actually behoove us or be a good idea to either use the respawn pod to make a new ship or take and build just a new ship using the respawn pod as a kind of referencer to get the resources you need, start getting the facilities you need to start making everything, and then just make another ship from that. But in official servers, you'll actually have to do all of that before you log off or join a faction with already existing things that you can come in and start getting to do things right away. I usually don't start in a faction. I usually either start solo or create my own. And I'll take the space pod, I'll start gathering some resources, start getting some stuff built up, and I will gradually actually switch the spawn pod for space over into a ship of my own making just by parking nearby and building things off of one and moving it to another. And man, this loading screen is taking forever. I'm thinking for my next stream, I will go ahead and already get in game so we're not sitting through the load screen. That was kind of on me. I wanted to go over the basic start of where things are at and the different worlds that you can start and play in. But right now, we're just kind of sitting here twiddling our thumbs, and I am duly sorry about having to do that. I will definitely in the future make sure that this is not in the stream unless something bad goes wrong and my game crashes, which it has before, where my game has crashed on me without warning and I have to restart my Steam, I have to restart my client and get back into the game. It especially sucks when you're on an official server and you happen to have this crash and you're flying towards something to park or flying towards something to get there and you have your inertia dampeners off, and so you're just kind of coasting towards it, and if you get disconnected you can crash into it if you're not there to stop the ship, and that's how you lose things. So this is my first stream using Stream OBS. So if anything's off, if my volume's too high or my game volume's too high, or you're seeing something that looks weird, let me know, and I will work towards fixing that if I can. Well, while I wait for the stream to actually pick up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to trans over to an intermission just real briefly till we get into the game. So as soon as the game's loaded up and I'm in game and we're able to pick our respawn, I will go ahead and resume the stream and as normal. Oh, and as I say it, so it happens. We go ahead and switch this back to our main screen. That I was not expecting. Alright. So, when you first get in, it's going to automatically bring you to the spawn screen, and you have a drop pod for every planet and moon available in game. Some are harder than others because you either have to work with a high gravity, a high oxygen atmosphere, or no atmosphere and low gravity. Like I said, I normally start in a space pod, which is this little mini ship. It's got an oxygen tank. It's got a survival kit. It's got all of the required thrust that you'll need. It also has an O2 generator, so you have oxygen when you start out. The drop pods, however, don't start you with that. You start with an O2 generator, a small ore detector, and an antenna, and it literally just drops you on the surface. The pod then locks to the surface, and then you work from that. You have the survival kit, everything that you'll need, but now you're going to be working to build a base to start building ships and or rovers, depending on how you want to go. Most of the drop pods are exactly the same. It's just the planet itself will change, and it will be a different setup. You can also spawn in the spacesuit, which will just spawn you into the world with no real way to advance. So I highly recommend that if you're doing the spacesuit spawn in, you are spawning in with another player, and you are spawning just either to get to them, or they're coming to get you. The only difference is the Mars drop pod is not an actual drop pod. It starts you out in a rover that you can drive around on the surface, because they don't really have a way for you to just drop on the surface and let the parachutes take over and drop you down. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to spawn in a space pod. Get into the game. We'll start going over some of the base controls, and I'm probably going to change a few things on our control suit when we first get in. This is more for my headache than anybody else's. Some of the things I want to make sure to do is I want to set up till I can turn my thrusters on and off as needed, and I want to set up as soon as I can the range on the... Oh no, that would be if I was stopping a drop pod. So never mind, with space pods we don't have to change the range on the ore detectors, because we don't start with an ore detector. We just kind of start, and well, it looks like we started relatively close to Earth, and I don't like that, because ion thrusters do not work in atmospheres. Alright, so when you spawn in, you're going to spawn in first person mode. You can hit the V key, and it'll spawn you, put you back in a third person. And you can hold the Alt key and move the mouse around and kind of figure out, ooh, wow, we spawned really close to a Space Pirate Mayday, and I don't see any asteroids. That's problematic, because now we don't have any stone or resources, so to speak, of until we find some. But we are relatively close to the moon, and the moon has no actual atmosphere. It just has a low gravity, and I know from experience that the respawn ship that you spawn in actually can fly on the moon. I don't really want to be that close to pirates, so we're going to go ahead and just start moving over this way. Maybe we'll hopefully find some asteroids along the way that we can stop and scope out. Because one of the first things you're going to want... Oh, wow. Hold the phone. So apparently my game was lagging a little bit, and we do actually have some asteroids relatively close in the vicinity. So we're going to take a sec. We're going to slow down to a stop, and I'm going to point out one of these asteroids. We'll get going. Alright, so we're going to go towards this one, I think. And the best thing I can recommend is that when you're flying towards something, you're going to do what I'm going to do, which I'm going to turn my inertia dampeners off, is aim slightly away from the object you want to get to. Because if you're aiming right on it, you're going to crash into it if the game lags, or if you misinterpret your thrust potential to slow down, which is why I'm only going 50 meters a second when the game caps out at 100. But I'm seeing lots of space pirate stuff up here. It looks like I'm going to fly by one, get into this asteroid. So I think we're going to go ahead, throw our dampeners back on. We're going to start turning to slow down going that way. And I'm going to head over here. This is a bigger clump of asteroids and a less chance I'm going to run into some space pirates, which I don't want to do. So now that we're going that way, I'll go ahead and turn my dampeners off again. We'll aim slightly off that asteroid, and we'll go ahead and just full kick it into gear, because at least if I pass it, I'm not going to crash into it. I hope. So one of the ways to get around large distances is to get jump drives. Now, to get jump drives, we need gold. We'll need a few other things, but gold is going to be one of the things that's going to be necessary for us to get that. However, we have only a survival kit, which means we can only process stone until we get a refinery and an assembler built up to actually do anything more than just break down stone, make some basic components to make the stuff that we need. So we have to build a basic assembler and a basic refinery, followed by full-scale additions of both. Now, we could very easily just set up shop in this particular branch of asteroids, but I'm not sure we're going to do that just yet. Alright, so we're getting up to this asteroid. We're going to go ahead and kick our thrusters on. It's going to take us a few seconds here to slow down. And thankfully, with respawn pods and the spawn ship for space, it gives us a waypoint that tracks the ship, which I don't know of how they're doing that via an engine. I haven't been able to duplicate it. But we can leave our ship, I don't know, nudge up to this asteroid up here somewhere. Wow, I'm seeing a lot of red space piratey things showing up on the HUD here. Alright, let's nudge in a little bit closer here because I don't want to have to make too many far distance trips. That should get us in a pretty decent little spot right there. Just nudge a little bit forward. Here we go. Alright, let's go ahead and bring her down a little bit. Not too far because there's no landing gear on this thing, so we come down too hard too fast, we're going to break the bottom of the ship, and that would be bad. Alright. So this is good just to get us a start with some stone, because right now we don't have anything else. So go ahead, we'll hit the F key, we'll get out of our seat, and you can see that I'm in third person there, and I don't want to be. Alright, so a little bit of an interior bit. We come out maglock to the bottom floor here, but maglock has a couple of issues, one of which is if there's enough angle on something, you can and will walk up it. And now I'm maglocked to the seat, so we're going to go ahead and just hit the X button and turn our jetpack on. Excuse me. I'll maglock to the floor again. We'll open up this door. Now, to preserve oxygen, starting out, because this is a airtight pressurized space. So air is full here. Now, if you see underneath my bar there's a couple of green things there. One will say high, and it'll have O2 next to it. The other will have a little thermometer, and it'll say warm. That means the environment is warm, and the air oxygen content is high. Therefore, I can hit J and take my mask off. And as you can see, I got my mask off here. And I'm able to breathe and work just fine. However, as soon as we open there, all of the oxygen here is going to get flushed out. Now, to preserve that room, so we don't do that, we build double doors like this. So all we have to do is close this door so that room is now airtight again, or sealed. So when we open this door right here, all of the oxygen in this little hallway of these two doors will flush out here. So we're going to pop that out. We'll vent our atmosphere. Now we do have a small cargo container. And we're going to go ahead and close that. Now we have to worry about our oxygen and our hydrogen. So if we enter in this cargo container here, we can see that there are two bottles. One is an oxygen bottle, one is a hydrogen bottle. We are going to grab both. Other than our dwindling power, which all of our tools will use, and I'm going to go ahead and clean my hotbar off here real quick, because I don't need any of that stuff yet. I will need it, but not yet. And so now we have our welder, which mine's a little rainbow welder, my grinder, and then my little rainbow drill. So now that we have both those oxygen bottles, we're going to go ahead and hit L and turn our headlamps on, and we're going to go down to the surface of this rock, and we're going to kind of grab our drill out here. Now, our drill has an ore detector built into it. It's not very big. I believe it is only good to 20 meters. So we can float around the asteroid. We can look to see if there's any resources buried within it. Up to, well, like I said, only about 20 meters. You can, in some cases, see on the outside of the asteroid what might be on it or in it. I'm just not seeing that now. You'll see a discolored patch, either a reddish-orange color, light blue, silver, gray with some gold highlights on it, and that'll tell you that that's gold. If it's kind of a reddish-orange color, it's iron. If it's... Oh, I'm seeing ice. I seen ice pop up there, so, well, it's about 50 meters, actually. 60, 75, 80... About 85 meters. This little drill apparently is detecting that. And we can float around, see if it's on the surface. It is on the surface, so you see that this is a light blue patch of kind of a luminescent, when you put lights on it, colored bit. So we know that we have an ice deposit here, which is good because ice is what's required for us to put into an O2H2 generator to get oxygen and hydrogen. So we want to remember where these are. Stuff like this is very important. So here's how I do my naming. So you can type in slash. You know what? I'm not going to get you through the hotkey. I'm going to go ahead and just go through my GPS menu here, and we're going to go ahead and make new from current position. So now we know that we have an ice deposit here, so we're going to just type in ice, and I'm typing Roid 1 because this is the first asteroid we've looked at. So with that put into place, we know if we back off a little bit, there's a waypoint here that is for ice. Right now, I'm not real concerned about having ice, so we're going to just start, I guess, at this point, drilling up some stone so we can start getting some basic resources, because that's what we really need. So there are two ways to mine. Left click and right click. Left click will actually mine resources from the asteroid and we have to collect them. Right click just drills a tunnel straight through to the other side, or to however far you go. Now if we hold the F key while we are mining, and I believe some rocks are floating away here, but that's okay, there's plenty of stone to go around. We'll start gathering whatever comes across our crosshairs as soon as we can. Alright, we are now full up on stone. Let's see, we got 200 meters to get back to our respawn pod. I should probably just fly it over. Alright, so we get up here. First thing I want to do is I want to come up to the opening of this cargo container. This is a small cargo container. Now we could just hit I, double tap the stone, and it moves over. And then we pick up however much we can carry. However, whatever we're carrying that is an ore, a component, or an ingot, we can hold the Alt key and tap the middle mouse button, and it will shove all of that in there. It will not do this with bottles, ammunition, tools, and weapons. Those all stay in your inventory. As we can note on the left here, I have all three of my tools and my 2 bottles, and all of the stone has been put back into the cargo container. So we're going to need to get up a bunch of different stone. So I'm going to head back down to the asteroid. This is kind of the more monotonous part of it, is we have to hand drill a good little bit of stone to get us started. And the reason why I want to do this is because the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out one of the windows in my cabin, and I'm going to replace it with a drill. That way I can gather up resources that are on the side of an asteroid, or gather up stone and turn it into resources without having to leave the safety of my cockpit. So in it goes. We've got almost 5,000. I'm going to want at least about 10 or so to get started. But in order to get the drill, we're going to need to have to make or find large steel tubes. Which means we also have to build a basic assembler. And I believe we'll have to build the basic refinery to unlock the drill, because we have progression mode on. Now, progression mode, is a relatively newer thing that they've added to the game. And what this does is it locks a bunch of blocks behind having to build other blocks. Go ahead and we'll land here. We're going to go ahead and go back into our cockpit, because I'm getting to be about half on energy, and I kind of don't want to have to refill oxygen from my bottle just yet. So we're going to go ahead and we'll sit in our cockpit, and I'm going to go ahead and open up our G menu from standing, because if we open the G menu from control seat or cockpit, it will bring everything that's on the ship for us to put on the hotbar, and that's not what we want. Alright, so if we look, we see progression up here at the top, next to the blocks button at the top, and we're selected on all blocks. Everything we see here, we can currently make. We can build light armor blocks, interior walls, heavy armor blocks, and their variants. We can build a planter, a couple of smaller planters by the look of it, a solar panel or a wind turbine, a basic refinery, a survival kit, and a basic assembler. We can build all 3 sizes of cargo container. We can build blast door blocks, landing gears, which we will actually put that on the bar because we will need it. We can build an O2 H2 generator. We can build an oxygen farm or a store. Or a contact block, even. I didn't know that was under there. See? Learning new things. So, for example, if we look at an oxygen farm, and I'll click it so it stays up on the right there, that gives us a list of everything this thing requires to build. So in total, we'll need 40 steel plates, 100 bulletproof glass, 20 large steel tubes, 10 small steel tubes, 20 construction components, and 20 computers. I can make, as of right now, I can make steel plates, construction components, and computers, and I think maybe bulletproof glass. Don't quote me on that. I have to check. But I know small steel tubes and large steel tubes have to be built in at least a basic assembler or small or bigger. So we can't actually build that yet. But the landing gear requires 150 steel plates, 20 construction components, and 6 motors, all of which are buildable by a survival kit. So now we need resources to start doing anything. So if we go and look at our survival kit here and tap the I button, we see that there's nothing in it. There's no stone, there's no resources, no components that have been made. In order to start getting resources, we have to take that stone we've been gathering and turn it into ingots. And this will take 100 stone and give us... We'll click on once and we'll see how much we get. So this is the production queue. So this is making, with 100 stone, it makes us 1.4 gravel, 3 iron, 0.24 nickel, and 0.4 silicon. This is a problem. This one set of stone is definitely not going to be enough. And that's why I went, if we go to our inventory and we click this box here, we can see all of the inventories across this grid. And I know that I still have 7.25 kilograms of stone. 7,254-ish. So I know it's going to take 7.2 of this stone to make whatever, if I queue up some ingots. So normally what I do is if you hit Control, you'll queue up 10, If you hit shift, you'll queue up 100. And I believe I was told that if you hit both at the same time, you queue 1,000, but I haven't tried it yet. So let's try that now. I'm going to hit control, I'm going to hit shift, and I'm going to click it, and it does indeed make 1,000. It queues up 1,000. So that's going to need a total, if we see here, over 100,000 stone. We only had 7.2. So what it's pulled into the survival kit is about 500 is what it's holding, and it's burning 100 per use of this, which has given us these resources, which we'll need to build the components to build things. Now, because I put 1,000 in the production queue, anytime I put stone in any inventory, because everything's connected via conveyors, and I'll explain those when we build our own ship, is it will pull all that stone to the survival kit, and the survival kit will continually refine that stone into things. Now, one of the ways production works is it's going to keep doing this until we run out of stone to pull in. Now, if we queue up a bunch of steel plates, which are 7 iron ingots, 7 kilograms of iron ingots per unit of steel plate, and we burn all of our iron on steel plate, whatever's next in the queue, it will try to make if we have the resources. Now, pretty much everything except for a few things here are going to be built with iron. Solar cells are the only thing that aren't, and solar cells are plain nickel and silicon, and it's a 1 and 2, so we need 2 for every 2 silicon and 1 nickel. We get 1 solar cell to make 1 large grid solar panel, which is one of the basic ways we will get power other than a hydrogen engine, a reactor, or a wind turbine. Obviously, wind turbines aren't going to work in space, so we're pretty much down to using the other 3. We don't have access to reactors because we don't have the stuff to build it. And solar panels are notoriously hard to manage because they require you to be in full view of the sun almost at all times. So it's really hard to make solar towers without additional help. Now, because we're in a single player world and I can enable in-game scripts, which I may or may not have done, we can use scripts to do things for us, to automate a few things. And that's one of the things we might actually do. For right now, though, we're not going to do any of that. We're only going to use the hydrogen engine built onto the survival pod to generate power for our 2 batteries that are on the ship. Now, if we hit K, it'll show us everything that's not hidden by us, which includes both the batteries, the hydrogen engine, the interior lights, our oxygen tank, our R2H2 generator, the flight seat, and our air vent. And our survival kit, of course. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the battery. And the battery says it's going to be fully depleted in 2 days. And that's because we're not using an overabundance of power. But to fix that, we'll need to start charging it at some point. Excuse me. Okay, we'll close this door. And now I'm going to work a little bit with the build planner. Now, the first thing we're going to need to make is we're going to need to build this basic refinery. And what this is going to do for us is a basic refinery is going to allow us... Oops, I did not bring that down. My bad. A basic refinery is going to allow us to automate our stone. We will no longer have to queue up the ingots. And now you can see, because I'm trying to place a block, it's telling me respawn ship. It will get removed if you spawn in a new one. Like I said, in single player, we don't have to worry about that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to slap on here this, if you can see it here a little bit, the hologram shape of the basic refiner. So we need to get the components. We don't have any of the components. I've built no components. None. None whatsoever. So what we can do is we can go into here, and we can either start queuing up the components we know we'll need, or we can hit the G menu again, take this, drag a copy of it. Oh, it's not going to let me drag from there. Okay, so we need to go up here, drag this down like we did to get it to our hotbar, and drag it to this plus sign to add the block to the build planner. And this tells us we need a total of 120 steel plates, 20 construction components, 10 motors, and 10 computers. So to get that, we're going to go into our production here. See that we have a little bit of resources. I hope it'll be enough. We'll go back to inventory. And we have some buttons here in the middle. Let's go over those. The top button will allow us to drop whatever item we drag into it. The button below that will withdraw components for the build planner. So anything we have in our build planner, such as we have our basic refinery in there, we can withdraw any components that we have for that, which if we click it, it says we cannot withdraw these and 30 other components, and that's the 10 computers and 20 extra steel plates we need. So we didn't actually pull anything. Well, this will also, which we'll get to in a second, allow us to build the components via the build plan. But the next button down will deposit all ores, ingots, and components, and that is that shortcut that I showed you a few moments ago. Below that, we have add components from build planner to the production queue. Now, if we click that and go to production, it has added everything we need to make a basic refinery and tells us how much we need. We have not enough iron, so we're going to need to get more stone to get more iron. But once we build this basic refinery, we'll be able to start looking for actual iron nodes, nickel nodes, silicon, cobalt, whatever else we need to build stuff. We can now get the basics done. We cannot refine uranium, silver, gold, or platinum in a basic refinery. We have to upscale our production capabilities. But for right now, this is going to go ahead and start building that. But we know we need more stone, so we're going to get our handy little drill out. We're going to activate our jetpack, and we're going to fly back down here, and we are going to nab up some more of this and mine out some more stone. As I said, this is a really slow process. It is not by any means a sprint. It is a marathon. This does take some time, especially considering that I did not increase my inventory size. One of the things you can do while at the beginning of trying to get your game up and running is you can choose to increase the inventory size of you, blocks that have inventories, and as well as the efficiency on which the refiners work, the welding is done, the grinding is done, and the assembly production. I have not messed with any of it. Ooh, drill. Grab some of this freestanding crap till we're full. Go drop off another load of stone. But you can kind of see now why I prefer to automate this process a little bit more by not having to do the ingot mining or ingot refinement, excuse me, and the hand mining with a miner hand drill here to get stone, when I can slap a drill on the front of my ship and tie it to the system, and then just have all the stone I'll ever need, all the ice I'll ever need. Whew. This is probably the more monotonous of things that we do. And this is just the start. Once we get past this phase, where we have built our basic refining, which as you see has not had any progress done to it, and we can go into our production tab here, and we can see that it is still refining some of the stone that we've brought back. But if we hover off of that, it'll show you that we're steadily gathering the iron we need. We still need another 645. We're getting ready to hit 100. Be about a little over 100 right there. But we've made all of our computers, and we've made 45 of our 120 steel plates. Now, once the stone has run out of stone and can't refine anymore, it's going to go ahead and start on the next thing in the production that it can do, which will be the steel plates. So we're going to just drill in, get a bit more stone, and get the basic assembler queued next after we get the refiner built. Once that's done, we'll get the drill on there, and then from there we're able to just gather a bunch of this stuff and not have to worry about our inventory getting filled up, remembering where the hell we parked. Worrying about our oxygen, our hydrogen, or our energy, because we'll be sitting in the comfy cockpit and doing all that from that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pop in, we're going to get some oxygen, and then we're going to sit in the seat and refill our energy there. Now note, our hydrogen is not going up, but our oxygen and our energy did. Because the space is airtight and it's oxygenated, because we have an air vent pumping oxygen into that space, we get that, and we get power because we're sitting into a seat. Anywhere that we can sit, but because we're not connected via an inventory to the O2 generator directly, our hydrogen will not auto-recover. Now, I'm going to go and take a moment. We're going to go check some stuff out. The first being, I want to see what this unknown signal is. Unknown signals are kind of like supply drops. They show up randomly. They'll show up a distance away, and they're timed. We have 4 minutes to get to this one before it disappears. And we're going to get our grinder out, and I'll show you why. So we're going to go the 2 some odd kilometers, which I think it was about almost 3 kilometers out. We're going to go ahead, we're going to head over to this unknown signal, and I'll show you what that's about. 4 minutes should be more than enough time. I believe these are down for about 15 minutes before they disappear. So once we get to about 400, 300 meters, which we're going to go at 300, we're going to kick our dampeners on and fly manually. And we're going to hope and keep our fingers crossed that this isn't one of those jerky ones. I can't tell if it's one of the jerky ones. It doesn't look like it's a jerky one. The jerky ones will have thrusters on them, and they'll fly away from you when you go to grab them. So what you're going to look for is you're going to look for a button. And right here we have the button. So if we hit the button, we'll get this dialog box to pop up, and it says, try your luck to get a new item. We'll click OK. Wait, and we got the leopard print rifle. So now we can, at a medical room or at the main menu, change the way our gear looks. Now, because this is now a sitting dead stick, and it has components, we're going to grind it. All of it. We're going to take everything we can get. The only thing we won't get is the 2 power cells that come in the battery. Now, while we're grinding down, we're eventually going to open up to where we can get to the cargo on this bit, which is the parachute hatch, which will have 1 canvas in it, which we'll pull. And then if we go into the small cargo container on this small grid ship, we'll have some space credits. Almost said energy credits, though I was just playing Estiona tool. 10 motors, and we can grab all of that and grind this down and get whatever this was made from. And this will give us some basic starting resources that we don't have to spend resources to make. Oop, I nudged it. Now, Newton's, I believe, first law is what they refer to it as. Anything in motion or not in motion doesn't move or doesn't stop unless something acts upon it. Now, we kind of nudged it, and it doesn't have any way to stop, so it's steadily drifting away from us. Which is fine, that's okay. We just broke it up anyway, and we're down to the last few components, so we're going to grab that. I do recommend that if you're going to come out to get a drop pod or something like that, you come out with full energy. Come out with full energy, come out with full oxygen and hydrogen if you can, or at least have bottles to sustain you. We'll get our drill back out because we're probably going to be using that. Alright, and there's our respawn ship. We'll go ahead and stop before we get too far away. Alright, let us go ahead and come up over here. We'll land on this little pad here. Open up our inventory. We'll go to our production queue, and this is what's done. Now, because I have components, I can go ahead and just double click those into here. Boom, everything's out. We can go in here, and I know we have at least 10 motors and at least 10 of those. So we can go to production. We still need 16 construction components. We've made 4, which means we still need another 6. But we'll always need construction components, so I'm going to let those go. We will also always need motors, so we can let those go. But because I know we have 10 motors, I can I can remove these 10 motors and still have enough for our refinery. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and just do the monotonous, grab some more stone. I know it's terribly monotonous, but in order to get started, this is what we have to do. In order to build the mining ships, the grinding ships, the welder ships, the cargo ships, the fighters, and the capital ships, and whatever else we decide to build with what we've got, we gotta get the little stuff done. But once we get the drill on the respawn ship, that will not be a problem. It'll actually be slightly more fun, because we'll get slightly more resources than what we've got, because everything's going to be auto doing things for us. Alright, so we'll go ahead and throw that in there. It's going to start refining. We're going to go get some more. As I said, you want at least 10,000. That will be enough to refine 1,000, I believe. No. That'll be enough to refine 100 stone into ingots, or queue up 100 of the ingot thing in the survival kit. I'm terribly getting you guys confused, and I apologize. Alright, let's start fresh. About 10,000 stone will be 100 queued ingots in the survival kit. Because remember, every order of stone is going to get us a little bit of resources, and we'll pull 100 stone to do it. So 100 means to 10,000. Now, if we had 100,000 stone, now if you hand mine 100,000 stone, kudos to you and your patience, brothers and sisters, because holy shit, I could not do it. I am barely capable of getting the 10,000 that I want to start with before I start going, I wish there was a better way to do this. Which, incidentally, there is. Alright, with that, we're going to go ahead and check on our progress of our production queue. Alright, it looks like most everything is getting ready. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this extra 20 steel plate and merge it with the initial 100. That way, it's all just kind of right there. But we are at a point where I think now we'll have enough iron to complete the basic refinery. And what that's going to do is it's going to make this stone production obsolete. Oh, we don't. We're definitely going to need a couple more runs, because we're about 250, 200 iron shy of being able to complete that. I'm still not overly fond of the fact that I'm seeing space pirates as close to me. Sucks. But as long as I stay out of their way and I don't get within, I believe it's like, I don't know, a kilometer or 2 of them, most will leave me alone. Most weapons have a maximum fire range of 800 meters. So as long as I stay a decent amount of way away from them, they won't screw with me, I won't have to screw with them, and all will be right with the world, and I won't get shot, because I don't really want to be shot. Alright, let's go ahead and check our cargo here, our production queue. Alright, looks like we only got a little bit left to do. 10 steel plates, 14 construction components, 10 motors. We already have the motors, so we're okay there. So once this stone's all done up, we'll go ahead and see where we're at. And with any luck, we'll have just the stuff we need, and I can go ahead and just queue this off. It looks like I'm going to need about another 2 loads. But let's see if we get at least 4 construction components done out. We only got 1. And I need at least 4. So we need just at least 1 more run of stone. And what this is going to do for us is it's going to give us enough iron to get the rest of what we need with what we've salvaged from that supply drop, from that unknown signal. And then we'll be able to build our basic refinery. And with that built, we won't have to wait for the stone to refine before building what we need. We'll start building what we need until we run out of resources. Oh, we're getting low on power. Warning. Life support low. Okay, well, we need to refine that and that little bit of iron anyway. So we're going to go sit in our cockpit for just a second, and I'm going to hit the K button, and we're going to go ahead and turn on this little bit right here. And what this does for us is it shows us all the hidden blocks in the group. Now, because the interior, not the interior, I was looking at that interior light. Because all of the thrusters were hidden from us by the survival pod, we're going to go ahead and click the top one and shift click the bottom one. These are all of the ion thrusters on this ship. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a block group, and we're going to call this ion thrusters dash respawn pod. Now this is going to tell me that the group name for that is ion thrusters dash respawn pod. So I know it's the control group for the ion thrusters on the respawn pod. So with that, I don't need to see any of that stuff right now. I can get rid of it. So when we close this out, we can hit the G menu. Now we only see this little tidbit of stuff. This is all of the stuff available on our ship that we can see. Lights, batteries, air vent, gyroscopes, what have you. Now we're going to take the hydrogen engine and move it down to our number 8 slot and toggle on and off. It is currently set to off. It is not using hydrogen to generate power. And then we're going to go to the groups tab right here, and we're going to drag this down to toggle on and off all of our thrusters. Now if we look around the ship here, I'll go to the back here, and I hit that number 2 button, you'll see that my back thrusters just turned off. So did the top, so did the side, so did the bottom, and so did the fronts. This will not move now if I hit the W, A, S, or D keys, because it can't. It can, however, still rotate because I did not turn the gyroscope off. So we're going to go ahead and turn our thrusters back on in case we need to get up out of here. Get out of our seat, because we are ready to go and check on those resources, which should be done as much as we need them to be. So we'll click I, click production, boom. All of the construction components and all but 4 of the motors are done. So what we can do now is we can go back to inventory, and we can click this button here, the second button down on the list of 5, to withdraw all components that are available to the build planner into our inventory. Boom. It took everything but 76 steel plates, 10 construction components, and 4 computers, because if you see here, it didn't want to take them. So if we hit the middle mouse button, it will pull the rest of that. Now if we hit our G key, you'll see that our build planner has now emptied, because the system has recognized we pulled every component necessary to build one basic refinery wherever we choose to build it. So with that, we're going to hit our number 5 key, hit our jetpack, and we're going to go up top here, and we're going to maneuver our block. So now if we look at the block, we'll see, if I turn this and I turn it, you'll see that there is a big yellow box with a couple of lines in the middle of it that look kind of like a doorway. This is a conveyor port. Systems will interact with each other with their inventories and with hydrogen, oxygen, only if the conveyors are lined up. Now, if we hit home and turn it to on its side, we can see on the bottom there is no conveyor port there. So if we hit home a couple times here, and we have that one and we have that one. So we know that there are 2 conveyor ports because you saw on the top there isn't one here. So we're going to lay it right here on its side. We're going to plop her down, and then we're going to run up. And you'll see that when we placed it, it only placed one of the total steel plates that we needed. Everything else is still in our inventory. So if we tap it with the left click, it will put everything in. Then if we hold, we'll start building it. And you can see there on the right, I don't know if you can see the production bar because I don't know if the chat's in the way for you guys. If it is, let me know, and I think I will move it to the left side of the screen specifically for Space Engineers, because not much is going to pop up on that left when I'm streaming because I don't use chat. I don't use the in-game chat. Now, we have built the basic refinery, and it just told us that blocks have been unlocked. So if we come in here and we click progression, we can see what unlocks what. And if we go down to the basic refinery, it tells us that we can now build a drill. We can now build an ore detector. We can now build an assembler, a full assembler, and we can now build a full refinery. Now, if I want to build a light or spotlights, I will need to at least build the basic assembler to unlock these blocks. So, we have that. Now, we need the basic assembler. So we need to find the basic assembler right here underneath the survival kit, and we're going to drag that to our build planner. Now, I'm going to come down here, check my inventory. I have just my bottles and tools, and if I if I middle mouse click on a cargo, it will pull out everything available to me that I already have built. So as you can see, I did not pull 36 steel plates, I did not pull 30 construction components, I did not pull 2 motors or 97 other components. So if we take that basic assembler, drag it to our hotbar here, and we'll replace the number 5 key with the basic refinery, we can see this is what we need. We don't have all of it, and we can't pull it because we don't have it. Well, there's a fix for that. And what we can do is if you shift middle mouse on an inventory, it will automatically put everything you haven't pulled into production. So now if we look at our production tab here, it only queued these components. So it's going to make all of these components that we need, so we'll need to harvest some more stone. Again, not very, very exciting stuff. But now, instead of it going to the survival kit, which we will fix when we get back, I will actually be able to put it directly into that basic refinery, and it will automatically refine those into usable ores without us having to queue up ingots from the survival kit. And I see another unknown signal, as well as, ooh, that's a hostile beacon coming closer to my location. Ugh. So we're going to drop off this stone, turn off the survival kit's order for stone to make ingots, because we don't need them anymore. So we'll go we'll go into production, and we're going to right click the stone, no longer needed. Alt middle mouse button into the container, and you know what, we're going to leave that rust further alone because I don't feel like getting shot. And we're going to go ahead and hit this unknown signal with an empty inventory, and I'm mostly full on everything. except we're almost at half on power. But I don't think it's going to be a problem, so we'll coast the rest of the way to the unknown signal, turn our dampeners off, which about 200 meters, I think we can kick it on and be like, okay, we're going to do the thing. Oh, getting close, getting close. Yeah, and in about 15 minutes, because just seen that pop up. Ooh, that was a lag spike. All right, we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop. We're gonna fly right on past the damn thing. Whoa, and we did fly right past the damn thing. Ah, thank the lords that it just looks funky. All right, so we have a button there, and that's the only button we got. So we're gonna push the button. We'll see if we get anything spiffy from that. And we got a Badger grinder. And now we're gonna start ripping it all apart. I probably should have checked to see if I had accident. Let's grab that canvas real fast. Let's get into the small cargo container. 503 space credits and some interior plates. That's nice. That's interior plates we don't have to make. We'll start grinding some stuff off here and get some resources from that. And this will also contribute. So what we'll do is we'll deposit everything when we get back and then do another pull on the inventory for stuff for our build planner project. I don't like working with build planner with more than one thing at a time because it will confuse the system. Because after all, the build planner's not perfect and we just sent that flying way away from us. I mean, this is mostly steel plate now. Actually, this is all steel plate now. I'm not overly concerned with it because steel plates are 7 kilograms of iron ingots, and well, pretty soon we're gonna be sitting pretty on all of that stuff that we have. Alright, let's get us back to the respawn pod that we're using for a temporary mobile base. Alright, when we get there. No, I'm kidding. I do that, I'm liable to crash into something or completely fly right past everything. Because you see how fast it's coming up. We are traveling at 110 meters a second. Now, I know what you're thinking. Lowlands, you told us that the game only allows you to go 100 meters a second. That is if we are not being held up against something. Alright, so let's go ahead and head up here. Don't want that out because we don't want to accidentally grind it ourselves. Alt click everything in, and then we're only going to pull out what we needed. Now, because I didn't automatically start building this, go ahead and kick this on. Now, the fun part, or the least fun part about the basic refining, or the basic assembly, excuse me, is that it's only got one conveyor port. That's that one right there. So that's the one we want facing down. Okay, and then we can do this. And then start gathering some more stones so we can start getting some stuff taken care of. Now, if I had the confidence that I could, with the little bit that I have, go up to that rust freighter and commandeer it, I would. However, I'm not very confident that I can because I don't know where everything on it is, so I don't know what to look for. I wouldn't even know where to start looking for stuff before it shot me. Get that in there. I'll go get at least one more load. That should be enough to finish it off, I hope. And then all we have to do is hand mine just enough material to put that drill where I want it. And then it's just going to be drilling with the ship. And with this, we can actually start looking through the other asteroids and be like, okay, we have iron, we have nickel, cobalt, silicon, gold, platinum, whatever, in the vicinity. Because obviously stone mining is not going to give us as much yield as the actual resources for iron, silicon, nickel. It's still the only way to get gravel, and gravel, as far as I know in vanilla, does not have an actual use. I do remember that there is a mod, I don't remember the name of the mod or who I seen it on who was using it, that would take gravel and turn it into concrete. Alright, let's check our production. Alright, it is making those. So, well, no, we're probably going to need a little bit more. Because I think we're out of silicon in that now, too. And you know what? You know what? Ooh. Ouch. Okay, so, fun fact. If you're flying and not paying attention like I just did, you'll crash into your ship, and that will be bad, because then you'll take health damage. You will auto-regenerate life up to 30 in a hostile environment, and up to 70 in a warm environment. But if you use a survival kit, it will just start filling up for you, as well as giving you power, hydrogen, and oxygen. Because the survival kit is hooked up to the whole system. Alright, so let's get in our ship here. Let's go ahead, and I want to head for this kind of broken up asteroid right ahead of us. And the reason I want to do that is I want to survey it. And why I want to survey it is because I want to find out if it has something on it, which it kind of looks like it does. Down here, just a smidge. Getting a little bit of world lag because I think something spawning. I'm gonna guess that that's probably nickel or silicon I'm seeing right there on the side of that asteroid. Make sure we're not gonna run into it. That kind of looks like a resource right there. Not one that I want right now. I really need iron and that. But if it's silicon and nickel, it'll be or nickel, it'll be a very potent thing to have. So we have our drill. We'll go ahead and open up our door. And like I said, oh, it's silver. Actually, I can see it already. We are close enough that the drill is picking up, and it is silver. Silver and gold. Silver and gold. I know, I'm an old man to actually remember that is a song from the Rudolph movie, and I don't ask me why I popped in my head. So now we're going to go through the hotkey system of GPS. So first you'll hit enter to open up a chat box, and you'll hit, I believe this is /, and then you'll type in GPS, and then we're going to say this is Silver Surface Roid 2, because it's the second asteroid I've found. It's on the surface and it's silver. So now if I back up, you can see I have created a GPS marker for silver on the surface on this asteroid. So let's hunt down and see if anything more is on here. Silver early on is pretty nice. Silver is used to make medical components, and that'll allow me to build an actual medical room or another survival kit, or I think it's used in thruster components because I don't really remember. I actually have a friend that when I play online, he's found most of our resources, so I don't have to find much anymore. I am not seeing anything else really on here other than that silver. Let's check out this little one right here. There might be something in here that I might have missed when we were passing before. I don't see anything. I didn't see anything on either one of these two. I think that's that ice patch, isn't it? No, that's I think a different ice patch. That's a different patch. It's ice. I know it's ice. But I have ice on that one, so we're going to call this Ice Surf Roid 3. GPS, Ice Surf Roid 3. Alright, so I know where that's at. I could really use some iron or some silicon or some nickel. But, you know, let's see if the RNG gods are actually on my side today. I am not seeing any on the surface. Then again, it's hard to see with it being dark on the side or having the sun flaring in your face like that. You'll occasionally see pockets like this on the side of asteroids. Go in them. Try to remember where the entrance is, but go in them. Because sometimes you'll see resources on the interior of these pockets that it's more inside the asteroid. Oops, I did not mean to do that. And so we might actually see something that's deeper within the asteroid without actually having a full-size ore detector. I'm not seeing anything there. Oh, I'm going to have to pause for a minute. So I'm going to hit the escape button. I'll go ahead and stick the stream on pause. I have a phone call coming in that I have to answer, so I will be right back. All right, I apologize for that. It was my wife. She is taking a field trip up to the Great White North with my daughter and some friends to visit her mom, and she just wanted to let me know that she got there safely and that she had to go to urgent care with her mom. So, everything's okay there. Just my mother-in-law is having a little bit of medical trouble, so she'll be fine. I hope. So, now the game will pause in a single-player game, but on officials it won't. So, bear that in mind. So, now we'll go back to surveying the asteroid. I'm not seeing anything more here. At least that I can detect with my little dinky drill. Just that little ice deposit there. There's that ice deposit on Void 1. Come to think of it, I don't think I've fully surveyed Void 1 either, so I'll do that real fast. Not seeing anything here either. Now, there are a couple other pretty decent sized things in the immediate vicinity. So, we'll keep looking. Ooh, what is that? That is magnesium. Ooh, that is really good. So this is magnesium, and magnesium is used in making ammunition, mostly for the creation of bullets and missiles. So this is beautiful. We're going to call this Mini Void 1 because it's not a very big thing. So /GPS, go mag, surf, Mini Void 1. Now, right now, I am leaving all of the waypoints up so I know what I found. Ooh, there's something over here. It looks, whoa, that was weird. Okay, it looks like we have another deposit of magnesium right here. Alrighty, that's pretty spiffy. So let's go ahead and we'll go / GPS mag surf 2, and then we'll put Miniroid 1. So I know it's the second one that I found on the Miniroid. Well, that's a pretty splendid find if I do say so. What's that? That's the first one we found. Okay, so yeah. We got some magnesium, we got some ice, we got some silver. So not too terrible there. We still got a fair few asteroids to look at, like that one. That one we haven't scanned yet. We need to scan it. This little pack here, which might have something in it, so we'll go ahead and head up into it. Because you'll never know what you might find. So this is going to be a Roid cluster, is what we're going to call it. I don't see anything else in it, but there is a surface pack of silver right here. So we'll go ahead, we'll head up on it, / GPS, silver, surf, Roid cluster 1. Now I know what you guys are going to say. How in the blazes do I track all of these waypoints? Especially when I leave all of them up for right now. Once I've scanned most of the asteroids in this little cluster of stuff, I will actually... Oh, we got more ice. Yes. And this is not one we have found. And that looks to be something too. More ice. So this is a very ice-friendly asteroid, so that's good to know. GPS, ice, surf, Roid 3. No, Roid 4. See, I do get confused. But I now know that I have named this Roid 4 and not Roid 3, because Roid 3 is over that way, I think? Or over that way. Well, ice is nice and is used for us, like I said, to get hydrogen and oxygen. I really, really could use some iron, nickel, and silicon deposits. Because now that I have a basic refinery, I can refine just those. And I won't need to hand mine stone. I can hand mine a couple of the basics and get what I need. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing what I need. I also need a cobalt deposit, maybe. It's not as big up here as I'm going to need platinum. But, yeah, only seeing that ice deposit up there, then a couple of ice deposits that are compacted together. No iron. Darn. Nothing on this by the look of it. I don't see anything propping. Wait, okay, so that's kind of a bust. We'll head back to our respawn pod, which is over here. And we need to find another asteroid to get to. Or another cluster of asteroids. Now there's a small little cluster back there behind us, but I'm going to have to get to that. Oop, oh, we're upside down. Now normally if you're playing on multiplayer, you're going to want to close these doors behind you. Because if somebody else wants to come in here, they're going to vent the whole room trying to get in. And we don't want that. Okay, so with that, as I said, we need to find another asteroid to get to. Now, there's a couple other candidates. Let's back up. We're going to go ahead and turn her wonky like that. And we're going to head to that little cluster right there. I'm going to aim for just to the side right here where I know I'm not going to hit anything. I'm going to turn my dampeners off. And we're going to get moving. Yeah, we'll go ahead and knock it up to 75. I think we can handle that much. 75.6. Seems like a good spot, right? So we'll get up to these asteroids, and I will then start scanning these asteroids. And when I say scan, it means I'm just going to circle around the surface of it and hope to find some surface material. Preferably, right now, I need iron, nickel, and silicon. So I can get those 3 basics, so I can start getting those those assemblers up, the mining drill up, and everything, so I can start getting some stuff taken care of. We'll start by this close one here. We're going to kick our dampeners on and slow down, which we're going to pass right on by it. Alright. We are stopped. How far are we from it? Not that far. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this way so I can get this way towards that asteroid. We'll start slowing down some because I don't want to crash into it by mistake. But I don't want to be that far away trying to scan this big old asteroid and then run out of energy or something out there, because that would suck. The door, we'll vent the atmosphere. Got our drill out. Let's go hunting. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I've thought the same thing, and I've had friends who thought the same thing. Sometimes the light illuminating on the side of these asteroids is very misconceiving. It will look like that might be a resource node and be just shiny rocks. So right now, just going to float around the asteroid, look to see if I can spot any on the surface. Hopefully I'll stick close enough that I can get a proc of detection with my miniature ore detector on the drill, which isn't much, but it's at least something. I'm not seeing anything on this asteroid so far. Although, admittedly, that looks like a really cool spot to put a base. Not even going to lie. It's tempting. It really is. So, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fly up in here. I'm going to GPS this as GPS Posse Base. Spot. So we know it's a possible base spot, but I'm going to go into my GPS marker and I'm going to turn it off by double clicking it because I don't need it on. I'm also going to turn off everything here except for the top iceroid 1. Because now I only have one waypoint about 4 kilometers that direction to tell me that that is where I have surveyed a bunch of asteroids and I can go back for resources there. I mean, other than there doesn't appear to be anything on this thing. It's a big asteroid. There might be things buried that I'm just not seeing. But it's really monotonous for me to drill into an asteroid like that and hope I find something. So we'll check this little mini-roid out, see if there's anything on it. Well, what do you know? There is indubitably. However, from what I can see, it's buried. It's surrounded by stone. Now we'll find the weakest point, which is, by the look of it, right about here. And we're going to go /GPS NI for nickel. Buried. Miniroid 2. And that's a spiffy find. That's a resource we need. So I will leave that up. I will come back to that. I'm going to scan this little asteroid here. Hope I find some iron, maybe some silicon. There's something on that. Alright, we're taking a shortcut. We're going to this mineroid up here because that looks like gold. It's not gold. That is not gold. That's nickel. That's more nickel. There's a lot of nickel here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go /GPS and I surf Roid 5. It's pretty big. It's big enough to be a full-size asteroid, I think. So that's a good thing to find. We have lots of nickel now. We're not really going to be worried about nickel running out. We still need at least a node for silicon and iron. All right, now all I seem to be seeing is that nickel. So, oh yeah, you can see it's got a patch there on the back side of it too. We're going to go back to that asteroid that I was going to look at before I got distracted with, oh hey, I'm pretty sure that's something there. Let's start looking around. Got what looks to be an opening on the side of this one. Go inside. Wow, that's pretty hollowed out in here. Which is good, because most of the time when you find hollow... Oh, hello! Ladies and gentlemen, we have uranium. Alright, so now because this isn't buried, it's interior. I have to find my way back in here next. But we're going to GPS this for sure. Uranium interior. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Don't judge me. You know what? Internal. Uranium internal, and that is on Roid 6. Because, oops, you know what I totally forgot to do? /GPS. So I actually just put that in general chat. So if I was on a server, the server would know I found uranium. Everybody's going to be asking me for coordinates. Alright, now we got that. That is a beautiful find. That means as soon as we find and are able to refine and use the resources necessary to build a reactor, I can build reactors and fuel them. Now, the only problem with flying into here most of the time, especially by yourself, is you only have you. Nobody else is with you. You have no way to really know your way out. And so you will get turned around. It happens. I did see as I found my way out. But we know that this asteroid has uranium on it. So with any luck, it'll have more than just one. Or that deposit won't be small, it'll be a much larger deposit. Now, if I had increased my inventory sizes, I'd have been able to just refine some of it grab some of it by hand. There's more than one deposit on this asteroid. Oh, that is so very beautiful. And I just whacked into the side of that. Y'all are laughing at me. I know you guys are laughing at me. It's okay. It's okay. I forgive you all. I mean, I can't be angry. You know what? I found uranium. I mean, it only took me almost 2 hours playing the game. Well, More like an hour and a half, considering that I had like a 10-20 minute load time on it. But that's pretty nice. So we'll hit up the rest of these asteroids real quick. There's only 2 left. We'll look for anything of use. Well, what do you know? This one has uranium too. Now I have to determine if that's interior. I think it's internal, because it looks like it is. Actually, it looks like it's buried. And there's more than one. Nope, it might be the same one and I'm just detecting it differently. So that looks like it's probably going to be buried, which means I'll have to dig to it. But that's okay. It's more uranium. So let's get as close to that deposit as we can get. Following this. I'm going to shift through these blocks here. And I'm not going to name the roid, but I'm just going to note that it's buried, so I know that it's buried. Alright, last one to check is this asteroid right here. Let's hope this has some iron or some silicon in it. Because if not, that means I'm stuck doing stone until I find those. Because we really need to get that assembler and that drill built. Especially now that I have access to some of that stuff. More nickel. And that's fine. Always use more nickel, and that looks like it's buried nickel. Alright, so with that being found, I am going to leave the nickel buried mini roid by the respawn ship, so we know that we have found that. But the rest I'm going to take off, and I'm going to go ahead and start gathering some more stone because I'm going to need it now. Unfortunately, well, you know, where's that at? That is 6 minutes that way, and I have not enough energy, oxygen, or health to do it, so we're just going to head back to the respawn pod. We'll fill up on that. I'm going to go ahead and just ignore that unknown signal for the next 6 minutes. We're going to go back into our cabin here. I'm going to fill up on health, energy, hydrogen, and oxygen. Once my health fills up, we'll just sit down and get the power that way. Go ahead, at this point, I'm just going to top off. Alright. First things first, let's check on our production capabilities, or our production center. Let's see if it's made everything we need. Or am I going to have to get more stuff back? I'm going to have to go get more iron, or more stone. So, now we're back to the stone mining again. And I apologize, I was hoping to be done with stone mining, at least to the extent of needing to get iron, nickel, and silicon. But it looks like we're going to have to make the couple of runs. I'm going to make the couple of runs. Once that's done, and we have that assembled, I'm going to go ahead, we'll get that drill squared away, because once the drill's squared away, the world is our oyster, and we can start just eating asteroids away. Was really, really hoping to find some iron, and some silicon. I mean, we found lots of nickel. We'll never be hurting for nickel now. I can easily get a bunch of nickel. And hey, we found uranium. We found silver. I mean, we get gold and platinum, and we have all the high-tiered resources, at least one node of it. Which is really very good. That means I'll be able to not, when I rebuild this ship or when I rebuild the ship, it means all I'm going to have to do is get those resources, and I can put a reactor instead of a hydrogen engine or solar panels. Now, most likely what I'll do is I will put a hydrogen engine, or I will put a solar panel or two on the ship, so I don't have to run the reactors full time. So the trick with that is you want to have enough idle power generation that your batteries refill when nothing's working. That is your starting goal for power generation. You want just enough for your batteries to recharge when the ship is or base is not doing anything. It is idle, which is not actually hard to do. It's as long as you have enough in the solar panel that you're having a little bit of charge come in at all times, your batteries will indeed charge themselves. Now, if you can set it up to where your batteries are still charging when, say, just the refinery is running, that will then allow you to that's really very close. That will allow you to only run your reactors when you're actively flying and when you are doing a bunch of things at once: mining, refining, assembling components. Oh, there's a lot of stone floating around out here. Get ahead. We'll get this done. As soon as that's done, as soon as we get the assembler built, as soon as we get the oh, apparently we withdrew all components. That's weird. Now, if you look, it says it's not in my build planner anymore. But clearly, if you can see it past the chat, you can see that I don't actually have everything. I pulled a bunch of stuff, but not everything. Well, there is a fix for that. If you right-click on a not built object, like this basic assembler, it'll queue up and say you are missing all of these components from what you just right-clicked on. And so then I can go back down to a port system, which I just covered that one up there, so I can't use it. And I can go, okay, I can pull out everything. So I just pulled out everything, and now I can go up and finish building it. Boom, we have it now. That is everything we needed. And now that we've built the basic assembler, we can build other things. Alright, so that's built. Woo, yay! Sorry, my sarcasm is duly noted. Now we can go in and get rid of that because we don't need it, and we can go ahead and pull our drill down. Now, here's another hotkey for the build planner. If you have just your welder out, or your grinder, or your drill, and you middle mouse button, it'll tell you that the build planner is empty, and you can open the toolbar screen with G to add something to it. However, if, for example, we hit 5 and pull our drill out for our full-size drill, and we click it, it will add everything to the build planner, and then tell us that we weren't able to pull everything at once. So to verify that we don't have something hiding somewhere, we do a couple of middle mouse button clicks, Nope, okay. Then we shift click, and now it is adding to production. And we can actually drill out our window up here, which is what we plan to do. Go up, we're going to drill this window out. It's going to depressurize that entire room. But we're going to put this back, and it should immediately actually pressurize that room. And now we just got to wait for all of those components to build and for us to get all of the stuff we need to build the drill, in which we can do everything from inside here. Now, if we come inside here and we know this is not pressurized because this is not fully built yet. Once this is fully built, this room will become pressurized, and we needn't worry about it. So now we need to get enough stone mined up for it to start building everything we need. And right now, everything is going through this assembler, the basic assembler. So we can kick that off. We don't no longer needs it. We're going to go ahead and remove that stone to there and remove that iron into the basic assembler, which it's not got enough to do anything. We're actually going to open this up. We're going to go down to the basic assembler. I'm actually going to move these down into here. And I'm going to go ahead and move this stuff down into the basic assembler. We're going to just stick the gravel over there because right now I don't want to toss it out because I don't need to. It's not taking up that much extra space. But now we need more because we need iron. Now what we can do is close these doors. We'll open these doors. Actually, it doesn't really matter. But we can go into here and I can go production and I can see what is holding me back is the fact that we need 2,000 some odd iron. Which means we really, really need to find an iron deposit. That will actually fix everything we need. So what we're going to do is we're going to find another asteroid to connect to. So I'm going to fly around these ones and go to that cluster back there and hope we get lucky. So this cluster looks to be a bit further away. But we'll go ahead and let that side cluster stabilize us out. Turn our dampeners off. We'll fly towards that cluster. And we'll start searching for iron ore specifically. Excuse me. So, at this point, I am done with stone. I have a basic refiner, I have a basic assembler, and I have started a drill on the front of the ship. I am done with stone. I might harvest stone as we're floating around or as I'm trying to gather a different ore, or if I need silicon again. But I am looking for an iron ore vein so we can start getting straight iron out of our asteroids and we can start gathering actual ores. Because now, once I get that done and I have the drill and I have the ability to just grab what I need, we can start modeling our ship. Alright. Here we are. I hope I'm not going too fast. I suspect I might be. Please slow down. Please slow. Ooh. Definitely slow down. Because I see it. I don't know if you guys caught it. Because I just did. But if we look down here at the bottom of this really big asteroid, you'll see this reddish patch on the side of the asteroid. That is iron. That is known iron right there. So we have found iron. I'm going to hand mine a full load of it and stick it in our refinery. we are getting our... Oh, there's two of them here, at the very least. One on the big asteroid on our above us, and one on the asteroid below us. So this is a really, really good find. So now I can take my drill, rip our door open, close it, rip this door open, leave it open, and we are going up there. That is iron right there that I see right here. Oh, and it's wedged in this little anchor of a patch. So this will be one of those where the iron would be picked with me trying to harvest the iron with the drill on the ship. That I'd be picking up stone with it because it just happens to be in the vicinity. But we have now got a full load of iron ore. That is a full load of iron ore. And so with that, go ahead and land here. Alt there. We can go in to our refinery, which has just yanked all of our iron, and now we are getting straight iron. And you'll see that we're getting much more iron out of iron ore than we are out of the stone. That's natural. It's supposed to work that way. So with 2 hours into the stream here, we have found, at the very least, I'm going to go ahead and mark those while I'm thinking about it. We have at the very least iron ore, nickel, uranium, silver. We are missing cobalt, gold, platinum, and silicon. Oh, we also have magnesium. That was the other ore I was forgetting. So we'll go slash GPS. Damn. Slash GPS FE for iron. Surf. And we're just going to leave it at that. All right. That is awesome. All right, so now we have a couple of things for progression. If I can find some silicon, we will be really set. Cobalt would help with the storage that I'm going to have to do. But for the most part, I got us what we need, at least to get started. Silicon, I can, because I only need trace amounts of it to start with, it's not unfeasible to just go ahead and let the iron and get it from stone while I need it. So, I mean, we're definitely going to check out these other asteroids in that. On the off chance that one did have silicon and we just passed it by because I happened to see the iron directly, and that's something we desperately needed. Alright, so with that, we're going to go ahead and start yanking some, because I'm pretty sure we're building stuff. I might have to make another run for the... yeah, I'm going to have to definitely make another iron on. But that's okay, because now we can make it. Now we have it. It's there. All I got to do is go up to it and start drilling at it. Make sure we'll grab some of this, because we don't want to waste any of it if we can. Alright, turn around and go back, because I know there's some still in here. Oh, this is so good that we found this. So very nice. Because once we get that drill done, gather up a bunch of this stuff. We'll gather up some of that nickel, go back for that nickel. We'll gather up probably some stone to make sure we have some silicon to work with. Then we'll go and grab up some other things that we might need. So very good that we found that. So very good. Because now that it's refining it and we're getting it, It's building everything we need. The production queue is going. Oh, so very nice. So very nice. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to gather up some more. I mean, the more the merrier at this point. We do need as much as we can get. Oh, well, that's nice of you. Thank you. Space Engineers is great. It's a good game. It's a fun game, but it is a pretty complicated game. There are lots of things you have to deal with when you're looking into it and playing the game. More iron. Definitely want as much of this as we can get right now, because we're eventually going to get to a point where we're going to burn through all of this iron. These two patches that we have found, I'm probably going to burn through them. Let's not kid it. Iron is one of those resources. It's used in a lot of different things, and it's used in varying amounts. Put that in. We'll grab out some more stuff. Looks like it's building the rest of the steel plates. Boom, that's the rest of the steel plates. It should be focusing on the construction components, and then it will get the large steel tubes. Oh, I'm so excited to finally get this drill up and running. Oh. Oh, we're down to building just the large steel tubes, and we need 10 of those as of right now. According to that, let's put this in and see what we need. 10 large steel tubes. Alrighty. That is gorgeous. All components successfully withdrawn. Oh, yay! We have a drill. The drill is active. Alright, with that built. Alright, so what we can do now is we can say to hell with this doing it by hand crap. I will never again have to mine with a hand drill. And I think I just crushed myself in the door. We can get in here, we can hit our G menu and grab our drill from right here, bring it down. Oop, from block tools, my bad. Tap 3, and if we look at the front of the ship here and we hold the left trigger, or left trigger, left click in, and boom, we have a drill. So let us start mining crap. Alright, first, let's get this. Might as well get a bunch of this iron going. Grab it, get it flowing. Go ahead and dig out this chunk right here. This will put us right onto the iron. And we'll just start drilling around it. We'll start getting some of the iron. We'll get some of the stone. Oh, it's so nice. So very nice. The only downside is because we have this big old head and only one drill right here, I cannot drill into this asteroid too far because of the way the drill's set up. But that's okay. I don't need to anymore. That's why I'm glad we have surface ores. Now, if we go into our inventory, you see we've got 35.9 thousand kilograms in our small cargo container. And then we have in our refinery another 6.8 and dwindling of stone being processed. So with that, we're going to back up off this asteroid. We're going to get turned around. We're going to get away from the asteroid. So the next thing we're going to need to put on is going to be a ore detector, because I want to be able to scout the asteroids in the ship now. So I don't have to get out and do all of that. So I'm going to go to the GPS. I'm going to turn off the mini-roid, and I want the surface nickel. The reason I want the surface nickel is because I can't really get into the asteroid. It's a little hard to do that, especially with only having that on the front of the ship, which is going to cause me only to have so big of a opening. Oh, there's a rust freighter down there. We're definitely not going to go that way. I don't want to deal with a rust freighter right now. I don't think I can. Now, if we wanted to, I could grab a rifle and some bullets and start trying to figure out what's where on it. So if I disable all the turrets by shooting them, and then get inside and take out the remote control block and any flight seats that are on there, I could then claim that vessel as my own and then bring it back and salvage it. Or I can claim it and use that as my base model. To be honest, a private sale would be better for me to do that with because I know where everything on a private sale are. I know that there's only 2 interior turrets. They're on the back side of the vessel. And I know exactly where to find the remote control block and the flight seat. And so what I would do is I'd be able to commandeer it, and then I would be able to put my basic assembler, my basic refinery, or just use what I can until I get the big versions and put them on there, and then I can just go from there. Now these Mayday ones that I'm seeing, I don't know what those are. Those are new to me. I've never seen them before. So for all I know, they're stations that will spawn drones to attack me if I get too close. I'm not going to take the chance, so I'm not going to fly towards one that I can clearly see. I'm so happy we found that iron deposit. Now if we can find some silicon, we would really be set, and I'd be able to get as much as I needed from that stuff alone. So the first thing I want to do, I want to get some nickel going so we have some nickel, and I want to get some stone so we have some silicon. Because now I'm going to start planning out our full ship. We're going to redesign this ship. Alright, get us slowed down. Everybody keep your fingers and your toes crossed and hope that I slow down enough that I don't peg this asteroid in front of us, because that's going to suck. But now that we have all these resources, and I do have them GPS marked, as long as when I respawn, if I happen to crash too much of the ship, I'll be able to go and get them back. Oh, I'm going to cut that really, really close. It's definitely closer than I want it to be. Oh, I almost kissed that. Whew. Breathe a little easier, I didn't crash. Finally getting somewhere after almost 2 hours of gameplay. I really didn't want to accidentally break this, because then I'd have to start from scratch again. I don't want to do that. Hello, viewer. Welcome. Alright, let's get some of this nickel mined up. Bye, viewer. So much of it. So much nickel. And nickel takes a minute to refine, so what I'm going to have to do is, because of the way single player is going to work, I'm going to have to, there we go. I'm going to have to leave the game running on this for a time, which means we're going to need to also fix our power generation to the extent of I need to be able to generate some power and charge the batteries and run the refinery at the same time, So I no longer have to worry about any of that. So I'm just going to go straight from this nickel here to the stone to the next of it. Gather a bunch of that up. And see, this is so much easier to work through than trying to do it by hand with a little ass hand drill. Alright, let's go ahead and stop that. We'll check, because I have cargo capacities, which it looks like I hit. As that's full. The survival kit's got some stone in it. The refinery's full. And the drill is pretty much full. So everything's going, everything's doing its thing. So the first thing I want to do, now that we've got some resources, I'm going to go ahead and hop out of my seat here. And note that this is not pressurizing. That's because I turned the depressurize off on this, so I didn't lose any more oxygen than needed. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we'll close this, or open this, I should say. We're going to go ahead and grab our landing gear for the respawn ship, which I was only able to grab one steel plate by the look of it. So we'll queue up everything else. That'll queue that up. And I'm going to stick a landing gear. I think best spot is right here. It's where I usually end up sticking it. We'll go ahead and start putting that there. And now we are going to start grabbing everything we can out of here for that. And then we'll be able to latch this to the surface. And we want that. We want to be able to latch this to the surface so I can leave it, let it refine the resources it's got that it's refining, and then I can get started on the other ship. Now, normally, you would have to power a grid to keep it in the world on an official server. On here, that's not the case. Unpowered grids don't just vanish on you, unless you get too far away. Then I think they might go ahead and poof. But we can now build our ship and not worry about having to, if we happen to have to respawn again for some reason or another, our ship vanishing with all of that new material in it. So what we're doing is we're going to build a landing gear, and this landing gear is going to allow us to latch down to an asteroid. This ship won't move, and we'll be able to let all of that stuff work while I'm working. So, very handy, very, very handy. We'll go ahead and get that popped there. Now it's just building the excess stuff there, which is already done. We'll grab it out. Oh, this is so nice stuff. Yay! Yay! Yay, yay, yay. Alright, so with landing gears, when you build a landing there, they come to you with auto lock enabled, so they will auto lock to whatever surface they're close to if you happen to be close to one you're building. So what we're going to do is, while I've got the ability, I'm going to head up to the right here to this little patch of asteroid right here and hope that I don't crash into it trying this. I'm going to get above it, which it looks like I'm about above it, or above where I want to be. There we go, right about there. That's good. I'm going to hit the K menu and I'm going to find my landing gear in here, okay? I don't like auto lock. Auto lock is a pain in the ass for me. So I turn it off. So you click this button right here, auto lock, click it off, and then we can go into our G menu here and we can go to all blocks and right click this to switch lock. And so I can just come down. When it turns yellow, I will be ready to lock it, or I can watch the text on the landing gear go from unlocked to ready to. I can hit the button, it turns green and locks me to the surface. Now I can do this and I'm just burning power at that point. So we're not going to do that. We don't want to burn power. It is running our refineries right now. Our refinery is still going full bloom. We have some different resources in here to work with, and if I need